Hello, it's Crypto CJ. It's the trade of the day, Friday afternoon / evening or Saturday morning, Zoom edition, depending on where you are. It's Flag Day in the USA, so I'm rocking a little patriotic background. Anyway, this week has been a bit of a bummer. Bitcoin's dipped several percent, as has Ethereum. A small rally going on right now. Let's go to the chart. We're gonna go into some news and some longer term charts, a little different than usual. So I will share my screen. And you should be seeing my Bitcoin week chart.
Yes.
All right, thank you. So if you were on the CryptNation call yesterday, you heard Bryce or Brendan, not sure which one, talk about how even though we've had a run up in Bitcoin, and I've created this, little rectangle showing a 350% run up since 2022 in late November to all-time high we had in March, up over 350%. There are multiple 20% or more pullbacks, which is kind of sort of what we're going through right now. And I'll show you a couple examples of those in case you weren't on that Zoom call. Here's one in April last year, 19%. Another one, 20%. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you get the idea. It's another one even bigger. That one's 21% in January this year. And then if I go to the day chart, we can show some. There's 16%. And then a couple of this one's even bigger, 21% last month. So what we have here on the Fibonacci retracement is a pullback to the 236 level. And this is a little more advanced. I know we have some new folks on, but Fibonacci is sort of an intermediate level tool. But anyway, it's supposed to show us where retraces can stop and turn the other way. And this is often used by more experienced traders on longer time frames to enter trades. So right now we're at the 236 and slightly above it. This could be a good entry. You may want to hold some funds back in case we go to the 382, which is here around 60,500. I did a low buy order in this vicinity, got in at 66,000, so I'm slightly down. And then the 0.5 would be right here around 57,000. So these are potential entries for longer term trading. It's not really the focus of what I talk about in my Zoom call, my weekly Zoom, but for those of you who are interested in trading these time frames, I do it occasionally. So I thought I'd go ahead and point it out. At the moment, Bitcoin's down about 1.2%, hovering around 66,000. And we look at a shorter time frame. On the hour, we see we are recovering. At least we were. Broke above 66 and then dipping back down a little bit. So I'm kind of curious to see where we'll go over the weekend and see if we have a strong Sunday night / Monday morning to wipe out this dip, get back to 70K, and ideally establish that as a support level. And Ethereum has been on a kind of a wild ride. I pulled this news story. Ethereum's holders picked up nearly 300,000 Ethereum in the last 24 hours, which one would think is bullish. And then they were talking about this yesterday, spot ETFs to begin trading this summer per our favorite government employee, Gary Gensler of the SEC. So I took that to mean mid to late August maybe, but I'm on Twitter today. And Eric Balshanis, whose name I always butcher, I'll just call him Eric B. Eric B is pushing for, he thinks it could happen as soon as July 2nd. And some of his insiders are talking they're getting the paperwork in and could be that soon. So that may have something to do with a little pump we had on Ethereum about an hour ago. And yeah, I'm on the 15-minute chart. You can see we had this move, almost 5%, and then dip back down. So yeah, stuff's happening on a Friday, which is kind of unusual. Most of the time, Friday afternoons, I usually stop my trading early. Volume tends to slow down over the weekends. For people like my good buddy Craig, who's now rocking his New Zealand flag, it's already the weekend, Saturday morning over there. So he's just chilling like a villain. Do you trade much on the weekends, Craig, if at all?
I have a lot of auto trades, but I don't manually trade in the weekends.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Any questions on the markets overall before we look at Altcoin Alert, see if we can find some day trades and swing trades? All right. Let's bounce over to Altcoin Alert then. Going to refresh, get the most current information. I have easy mode off, and I'm on the altcoin radar. Most of the time when you guys look at this for the first time, you're going to see something like this. I want more information than this, so the way to obtain that is to do this. And there's various sorts I like to use to find coins to follow. What I'm going to do is take the altcoin alert information and then use what I've learned as a day trader over the last 4 years to apply technical analysis and alerts on TradingView to find better entries. So it's a blend of the information source of Altcoin Alert and technical trading on TradingView. So, or frequently called TA. So I've done my first sort here on Altcoin Alert on the AA score, looking for values 80 or higher. And some of these I'm going to exclude because either I'm familiar with them or they're not on exchanges I like, or I've had bad experiences, or maybe I'm just plain superstitious. So, oh, we got a chat question. Bree is asking, when you place trades, do you recommend placing a one-time order or limit order? Okay, it's a very good question. If I am doing a swing trade on the exchange directly, I usually use a limit order. For my day trades, I'm using a third-party software program, and those are market orders. So, but the nice thing about the third-party trading system is it already sets up my additional purchases, and it's just very convenient. So, but again, that's more advanced. So if you're learning this type of trading, you're probably going to go straight to the exchange, and yeah, go ahead and try to get that limit order. Your fees will be less, but occasionally a trade might get away from you. You'll feel inclined to chase it. Set your price at where you want to get in. If you don't get in, then there's always another trade. Don't beat yourself up. So, okay, Bree says she has Coinbase and Fidelity. Yeah, I use Coinbase for my spot trading. I use some foreign exchanges for leverage trading. That's using the exchange's money to get larger entries, though it carries considerably more risk than spot trading. But we'll talk about both of those a little bit later. So, okay. All right, so AA score, I was looking at band earlier. I've actually got those charts up, so let's go ahead and check those out. This is a coin I do trade from time to time, and it's on most exchanges. So I believe it is on Coinbase. Yeah, it is on Coinbase. I have it on a Binance chart now. I'll just leave it there for now. Most of the exchanges have very similar values for each crypto. But ideally, you would have the chart for the exchange you're trading. All right, so this is my day trading layout. It's on the 15-minute chart, and I've got support and resistance marked by supply and demand visible range, which is a Lux Algo indicator. You can find indicators here. And I have the more advanced TradingView premium subscription. If you have a lesser one that you're paying less money for, you may not have access to this. So you may want to find a different support and demand, support and resistance indicator, and there's a bunch of them down here. So I'm also using an indicator called the RTI, the relative trend index. This has some similarities to the RSI, the relative strength index, but RTI is a little more precise for the kind of trading I like to do. And my favorite entries are something like this, where it dips down below the 20 value on the RTI and then breaks above. That's something I can set an alert on. I don't have to sit here and stare at this all day. And when that happens, that's usually a good entry. Not always. Sometimes I have to make additional purchases to improve my position. But we have a pretty good example of one at the moment. We had this big dip today, and now it just broke above the 20. I'll make this a little bigger. So it broke above the 20, though it's dipping down now. But had I been following this one today, instead of preparing for my vacation, I probably would have gotten in around 2:30 when this broke above the 20 value. So the type of alert you can set for this, right click on the RTI and crossing up on the 20. If you choose once per bar close, it'll stay on until you turn it off. So I usually do this in the morning, and it will go off a few times, but not always. The alert name, call it whatever you want, but I usually use the information source. So I'm going to go with AA score purchase. And on my notifications, I'm going to notify in an app, the app on my phone, show a pop-up on my computer, and play a sound also on my computer. For this one, I'd probably go with 3 notes reverb. Click create, and that's how you do that. And then another potential entry is this middle area, this 50. So that often shows that something's got some strength behind it. See if I can find another example of that. Yeah, here's an example from Tuesday night. Let me get my vertical line, where it broke above the 50 right about here. Went sideways. And then eventually made a nice move, 5%, in less than 11 hours. That's a really good day trade. If you pile up 1, 2, 3% wins consistently, your balance can grow pretty quickly. As a more experienced trader, I'm using leverage in my trades. So I'm looking for 1 to 1.5% of a move on my day trades at 10x leverage. So for me, that's usually 10 to 15% a profit on each trade. But I hold most of my balance back to make additional purchases if it goes against me, especially on longs. On short positions, I usually use a stop loss. Okay, any questions on band as a day trade? Okay, let's go over to my swing trade layout. So the purpose of this layout is to try to get bigger moves. That means you'll be in the trade longer. Obviously, that's not a day trade. I call it a short-term swing trade. Swing trade isn't real well defined, but I think of it as usually between 2 days and a month for me is a swing trade. Short term would be less than a week. So we've got a really nice setup here on band at the moment. I've got the same support and resistance. Then I've added this. I've added the SuperTrend, which is a buy sell indicator, and the Trendilo LSMA, which is a moving average. And so when I see something break out of the green zone and the SuperTrend switches over to buy and this LSMA turns to green, that's usually a good entry. But again, I'm going to hold quite a bit of my funds back to make additional purchases if necessary. At the moment, I predict that we'll get if this keeps going up, we'll get a buy signal on the SuperTrend right around here. And then that move can be, if it goes all the way back up to resistance, over 20%, And, could take a week for that to happen. That's a really good entry. I think most of the charts we look at are going to look like this. We've had a couple, we have had a couple dips this week in Bitcoin. When Bitcoin goes down 2 or 3%, it's usually 2 to 5-fold dip for the altcoins. So keep that in mind. These are riskier to trade, but they also move faster and make more money. So the alert I would set on this swing trade, right click on the SuperTrend and click on buy. I'm just going to leave this on only once. That was an AA score. And let's go ahead and I usually use handbell for my swing trades. Band 1 hour, click create. Then that'll show up over here. And when that alert goes off, reevaluate. Look at the chart, see if everything else is in place, and go ahead and do your entry. Maybe set it a little bit below where it is now. Try to get that limit order, and go from there. Any questions on band as a swing trade? Okay. Well, I've gone over these two trade options in some detail, so I'm gonna go faster on the next ones. If you're new and I'm going a little too fast for you, feel free to ask questions or watch the replay. I'll send that out probably an hour or so after the Zoom call ends. And then I find when I'm learning something new, I usually just listen to it the first time. Second time I take notes, I listen to it, and then the third time I will type up those notes into something I can sort and or search. Okay, so let's go back to Altcoin Alert, and that was an AA score. Another one I like is a social activity sort. So I'm going to match that up with trading activity and look for fire and fire, or fire and thumbs up, or 2 thumbs up, that kind of thing. So what I don't want is fire and poop. So, all right, so Blizell, trade curve I like. And let's see what else we got. Rose, I've been trading last couple of weeks. Uniswap. Civic has been popping up lately. I'll have to look at that again. KNC I like a lot. So those are all potential coins to put alerts upon. CHR just switch on? CRV, that's the one. All right, let's look at that one. Okay, on the day chart on CRV, okay, if you've messed the chart up a little bit, you can just right click and reset your chart view, and it'll come back. It'll put you where you need to be. So we're sort of in no man's land. CRV had a nice recovery, and it took a small dip and bounced back pretty quickly. Right about here would be the entry. Around 1 p.m. and then we're at 4%. So that's a great day trade. That would have been a really good entry. That's not what I want. Yeah, when it popped up here at about 1:15, that would have been the time to get in. So we missed that, but it has dipped. The trade you could take is a break above the 50. So add an alert, crossing up 50. Probably this late in the day, I just do that one once. And this is social activity sort. And notifications might go with a different one than this one, just to differentiate it from a swing trade. 3 notes reverb or chirpy, those are the other 2 I use. Okay, and then on something like that that's more trend based, I will sometimes look at this cumulative delta to see if we have confirmation. Ideally, there's a stronger move than this trending up. You know, something like this would be ideal. But you might want to add some other indicator here for confirmation. And that's up to you. Okay, any questions on CRV as a swing or a day trade? All right. Let's look at it as a swing. Okay, sort of similar to what we looked at before with band. We do have a buy signal already printed here, but we do have the Trendilo LSMA is not agreeing with us. We got in now. There's a 30% move potentially back up to resistance from 28 cents to 37 cents. That took a couple days. That would be a great swing trade. You might want to wait till you get confirmation from this. You could get in now, just go in small and hold some funds back in case it dips against you. But yeah, there's some nice room to get back to resistance on this. I like this setup. Any questions on CRV as a swing? All right, let's do another sort. And let's do short-term sentiment. Pretty similar to social activity and trading activity. Short-term sentiment, we're going to match up with Elder Impulse hourly. So we have a sentiment score, what people are talking about online, and then the Elder Impulse, a technical indicator. We're going to match those up. The one after this, we're going to do long-term and Elder Impulse daily, and then we'll wrap it up. But for now, let's check out the short-term sentiment. When I look over to the match, I see we've only got 8 that are bullish. So we've only got one match, pretty much. Some VThor token. That's an old one. Sure, why not? Let's check it out. We'll look at this as a spot trade because I know this one's on Coinbase. So this one on the day chart, on the day trading layout, broke up briefly and then worked back down. So this is one you might want to set an alert down here on the RTI, wait for it to break back up again. That could be a potentially good entry on a day trade. So if that happens, say around here, you got almost 10% to resistance. You've got 2.3% to the SMA line. That's a pretty good day trade. And then there's some more resistance, the bottom edge of it, that'd be about 8%. So these are all potential exits if you do take the trade. And then obviously up here, we're at that 9.3%. So the alert looks like this, crossing up on the 20. And that was a short-term sentiment. Whoa, what's that? And then set this up how you want. Okay, any questions on VThor as a day trade? Okay, as a swing. Okay, it's in the sell zone, but trending back up in the green. Resistance goes up to 20%. This one's pretty easy. Just set that SuperTrend alert. Yeah. social activity sort. And yeah, probably handbell I would use on this one. But yeah, that's something you can trade on Coinbase. Any questions on VTHOR as a swing? Okay, let's do one more. This is for my more experienced folks who trade on leverage. We're going to look for a short trade, something to bet against. So you can use Altcoin Alert for that as well. I usually go with the long-term sentiment. And instead of looking for bullish, I'm looking for bearish. So I click one more time. Everything that's, I'm going to match that up with the Elder Impulse Daily. And then this is usually better for swing trades, but I'm still going to use that as a day trade as well. That's some success in the past, using it for both. Got VeChain, bearish on both. RLC, ICP. Actually, that's a good one. Good one to short. Yeah, let's look at ICP. This one's had a wild ride. Get the week chart on this. Yeah, this was way up here. Thousands of dollars. Down in the hundreds. Now it's less than 10. But yeah, a lot of room to move on this one. Okay, go back to the 15-minute. And it broke above 20, made a nice move up. So that broke right above here. 1.5%, then dip down again. So you could set an alert on this one to break the 50. And we've got pretty good confirmation on the cumulative delta for the overall trend, but it's dipping now. So I think your alert's going to look like this, crossing up on the 50. And what is this thing? Yes. Okay. So this is a long-term sentiment buy, breaking above the 50. We could use that as a long. Now, we were looking at this as a short, so we're going to look at it a little differently. We want something more like this, where it's broken above the 80 and dipping down. So our alert's going to look like this on the short side. Crossing down on the 80. Sorry, it was a little confusing. I was sort of on autopilot looking at this as the long. But I frequently will sort the way I did and then set up. I'll show you how to set up both directions. But so for just a short, we're going to cross down on the 80. And then again, it's long-term sentiment and do your notifications as you want. If you want to trade both directions, we're going to enter a channel. 80 on top, 20 on the bottom. Once per bar close. I'll probably just put this up once. And then go with, say, 3 notes reverb. And so when I set this alert, I'll get this rectangle here on the 20 and the 80. So if it dips below 20 and comes back up, that alert will sound as a long, and I'll have a decision to make if I want to take that. If it breaks above the 80 and then dips back down, that could be a good entry for a short. Okay, any questions on ICP, the short of the weekend? I can say I probably wouldn't want to take a short where it is now. You don't want to short near support. I want it to be at least halfway between, ideally coming out of this red zone, something like this, where it's coming out of the red. coming off of resistance. It's a better entry for a short. Okay, any questions on this one? Any questions on Altcoin Alert overall, or any coins you want to look at? Any concepts to discuss? Okay, got a chat entry. Bree's asking, isn't crypto supposed to go up when stocks are down? Not necessarily. Sometimes they used to be fairly well correlated, Bitcoin and the NASDAQ, the tech stocks. Now that's sort of separated the last year or so, but yeah, there are from time to time they are correlated. Bitcoin and the crypto market is affected by market conditions overall, which is why we talk about what the SEC is doing, what the Fed's doing. We had the FOMC sort of mixed announcements on Wednesday, so that caused some weirdness in the markets. So I don't generally use stock performance to influence whether I get into a trade or not, but I will look at the overall market conditions, for timing. And Tom suggested to show the SPY overlaying Bitcoin and show the correlation. Yeah, not sure if I do that today. Yeah, I think I'm going to pass on that today, but something to do in the future. It's been a few years since I've done that. I'm not sure if I remember how. So, all right. Bree's asking about Ocean. She bought before the halving, and it's been bearish since she bought it. That's frustrating. Just about anything, if you bought for long term, most things bought around that time have been down, but you could make additional purchases and improve your position that way. We'll look at Ocean on the swing trading setup. Went past it. There it is. So see, the halving was, when was that? April, May, March. Not remembering exactly when it was. But regardless, it has gone down considerably, since the end of May. It's down about 35%. As it keeps dipping, this green zone keeps getting pushed down. We did have a big drop here, all the way down, looks like to about 58 cents. I probably want to see better evidence of a recovery. Let's look at a longer term. On the 4-hour chart. But you might want to use the SuperTrend on a 4-hour chart, even an 8-hour chart. And the next time it prints a buy order, but the buy orders haven't done very well in this time frame. Each time it shows some momentum, it goes up a little bit, then drops down. Because if you bought way up here and you still have funds on the side, you might want to buy another position. And we're in a pretty good place to do that now, but I'm not confident that the dipping is over. The Bitcoin dip I showed you earlier for this current cycle is around 8 to 10%. And I showed you multiple examples where it went down 20%. So Bitcoin might dip another 10%, which would drag this Ocean down probably closer to 20% from where it is now. So keep an eye on it that way. Maybe try to get another position at between 50 and 60 cents. And that would improve your overall entry. Okay, any questions on Ocean? All right, Breeze, thankful. Well, I will wrap it up here. Thank you so much for attending live. If you're watching on the recording, I appreciate that as well. Please check out the comments. The pinned comment, as the opportunities help fund the channel. Remember, I will not be here on Monday, the 17th, taking a short vacation. And I will be back a week from today for the Friday call. And a bunch of thank yous in the chat. Happy Father's Day to the dads. So you guys have a good weekend. I'll see you in a week. Bye.